6.5 hours yesterday. That's how much time I spent with my second daughter. Most of that sat in a waiting room at Safemead Hospital, and then they sent us home. So Emma's been poorly. She's been on and off poorly for quite some time now, and it was put down to various different things. She's had pregnancy and preeclampsia and all the other little bits and bobs that just kind of made life more difficult than it needed to be for her. Anyway, she's had real issues just recently in her tummy department. And it turned out it was something we weren't expecting. She had pancreatitis, so an issue with the pancreas, and that issue was created by gallstones in her gallbladder, and the only thing they can do, because her gallbladder is full of stones, is remove it. So, you know, her case was deemed as quite serious. You know, they were worried enough to invite her to come in for surgery 3 or 4 days. So obviously, you know, needed doing. Yesterday, took her down to hospital, had to be there for 7 o'clock. I had her there for 7 o'clock. She had a sniffle. So, a little bit more than a sniffle. She had a runny nose, bit of a cold. And there was a question mark, would they operate, take the gallbladder out because she had this cold? And we knew that from the very beginning, that there was a chance. But within half an hour of getting there, we saw the anaesthetist, nice young lady anaesthetist. She came in, sort of said, no, there was also a question mark because she had this cold. But listened to her chest, everything, I said, oh no, that's all clear. No, that's okay. So we waited. Went to another room, waited a bit more, saw the anaesthetist again, took some more detail, wrote a load of stuff down. Then we saw the surgeon, nice fella. Then we saw the nurse. We moved to another room. Basically, it's like, well, she was second in line for the morning surgery, but that got suddenly bumped to third. So instead of going down at 10 o'clock like she thought she was, it was 11 o'clock. 11:15, they came to the room. We thought, right, here we go. And they said, no, we've changed our mind. We're not going to operate. You can go home. It's like, well, I've been here since 7. Yeah, no, we've decided it's too risky. We don't want you ended up in ICU with an infection because, you know, you've got this cold. And it's like, well, really, you could have told us that hours ago. So I got nothing against NHS, and I got no real issue, but it's just one of those things where if there was a doubt, don't mess about, make a decision, do it. If they sent us home at 8 o'clock, I would have kind of forgiven them for that because she had a bit of a cold, but like, it was nearly midday by the time we left, to be honest. By the time they'd done the paperwork, the side was all back again. Best part of midday, it was like, right. So then by the time we got home, it was like 1:45, half a day's gone. I'm not complaining much. Just a bit. Anyway, job this morning, first thing, I'm going to give my cattle, my poor half-starved cattle, a bale. Although it's rained and the grass is growing, we've had to shut them out of some of the fields because we put fertiliser on. And we can't graze that now until that fertiliser is kind of washed in. So they've got a smaller area to graze over, and the grass is not getting in front of them. They are staying in front of the grass, so I have to give them a top up. Because we've not been as busy as usual this time of year, our premiums are more than we can afford. So it's a case of, right, you guys are going to have to come out and have a chat with me, and we're going to have to thrash out some numbers, and you're going to have to make the insurance more affordable. And they said, we don't normally do that, but okay. So something else I'm doing today is a bit of research. I've made a couple of phone calls. I'll add a little bit of the conversation into this video of what I did. So I've had a chat with the nice chaps at Chippenham Farm Sales, and I've also had a chat with the nice chaps at Taylor Attachments, and that's all to do with the 695 and handling bales. Now I've got a couple of options with regards to this 695 attachments and handling bales. There are some cheaper options and some less cheap options. The 695 has got, was it Euro 3 or Quickie attachments on it, which were fine 25 years ago, a common attachment, but now everything is on Euro 8. So if I buy anything new, I've either got to have it fitted with old style brackets, which is okay, but no one else can use it unless they've got an old style loader, or I have the attachment with new style brackets and I change the headstock on the loader. In addition to that, I want the ability to fit some of my skid steer attachments to the tractor as well. So you see the problem here, and the potential of spending a load of money. I don't know if it's a good idea. As you can see, we've had some rain. It's made the yard mucky, but the bottom left-hand field has gone green overnight, so I'm not complaining. Come on then. In you come. Lovely little fella. And it started to rain. Right, so I was going to go through the bucket attachments I've got for the Quickie loader, but you know what? We'll go in the barn and we'll talk about it in there. Okay, so the bit we are looking to replace is that bit there. Okay, just that bit. None of this, none of that, just this bit here. This is a Quickie back mounting plate for Quickie mountains, which is basically these guys, the hooks here, and then there's pins that slide through on the back. Now the only real difference is the Euro 8 mountings on top are very similar, but the holes down there for this slide across pin mechanism down here, well, they don't line up. But I think there's a headstock available that will do both Euro 3 and Euro 8. So I've had a chat with Taylor Attachments this morning, and they've got something in stock. All right, they said it's made in China. They bought a load of them a while ago. They were reasonably cheap and cheerful. He sent me through a schematic plan of it. I've got to take some measurements and see if it will fit this machine. And he said to me £300 or £400 for that back plate. So there's £300 or £400. That means that then this tractor can pick up all my current kit, and if I buy a bale squeeze with Euro 8 fittings, I can pick that up and use that as well. Best of both worlds. Cost me £300 or £400. Well, I can kind of live with that if that is the case. On top of that, he can then provide me with a second plate, which is basically an adapter plate for the new one. So a second plate that fits between the two, which means that this tractor then could pick up my skid steer attachments. Now that was £950, I think, plus VAT. So we're looking at best part of £1,400 for me to not poke holes in bales, because that's what this is all about. Because at the end of the day, I've got a muck fork for this, no grab on it. When I have the third service on this tractor, if I had the skid steer fittings, I could use my grab on this. It's kind of a plus thing. But the main thing for this is I want to be able to pick up silage bales at the other farm with this tractor without punching holes in the wrap, to bring it home and then unload it this end with the skid steer. So in other words, I will have two big bale attachments. I know this sounds really counterintuitive to some people. It's a case of, well, if I was bringing the tractor backwards and forwards and with the trailer on, that's okay, I could do that. This tractor's not really man enough to tow that 25-foot trailer with 20 bales of silage on it. It's not really up to the job. So we've had to sort of and ahh what we can do. I think that with world economics and everything else going at the moment, I can't really afford to upgrade my tractor. So I've got to upgrade for a lot less money what I've got. So yeah, upgrade the tractor. It's going to cost me £50,000 to £80,000, which I'd have to borrow. Upgrade this, £1,500, which I don't have to borrow. To see where I'm coming from. So all I've got to do then is take this tractor to the farm, come back, then go my tractor backwards and forwards. I can load that end with this tractor, I could unload this end with a skid steer. It kind of gives me the best of both worlds. It is spending a lot of money again, which I seem to have done a lot of this year. Yeah, I think that is probably the cheapest option we have right now. Although, of course, on top of the adapter plate, which is, say, £1,500 to do what I want to do, I've then got to add a second squeeze. So I've had a chat with the guys at Chipping Farm Sales. They're putting together some prices for me. So yeah, it's going to be another £1,500, £2,000 for a squeeze. So add it all together, say £2,000 plus £3,500 is what I want to spend to stop me poking holes, because I can move bales with this. I can move all my bales with this now, but I've got to poke either one or two holes in them. And that's it. It's just £4,500, so I don't have to poke holes in my bales, and a roll of tape is like £7. See the quandary? There's options. There's so many different options, but it's, yeah. It just means another year of no holiday. That's not a complaint. I'm not complaining. I don't particularly need a holiday. I say it to lots of people where I live and what we have. A lot of people would consider this, my life, a holiday. And some of them, compared to some, they'd be right. But yeah, Just seems to be we're bleeding money this year. Only because I've opened the arteries. I got no one else to blame, only me.
Hello, Chippenham Farm Sales.
Malcolm,
Speaking.
Ian, pull in.
Hello, Ian. How are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. And yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Good. I'm
All but
glad.
happy.
Hey? Yeah, I know that feeling.
All but happy.
Yeah, I know that
How are you
feeling.
getting on? Is the world of celebrity still any good, or?
Oh, no, it's not what it's cracked out to be, mate, honestly. Sam rang me back earlier. I got him to give me a cut of prices for some bail handlers.
Yes, he is here. He's just here. I will transfer you. He's nodding his head, so he knows all about it.
He's
Ian.
nodding. Right, okay, I'll speak to Sam then, thank you.
You better speak to the main man. I don't want to step on his toes.
Fair enough.
No problem, Ian. Nice to speak to you. I'll transfer you over.
All right, thanks, mate.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Sorry I missed your call earlier.
That's alright, not a problem.
What you got to tell me?
Yes, right, I've got some prices for you.
Okay.
We have all three in stock on Euro, if you wanted Euro brackets, that is.
Yeah,
The 691
yeah.
with brackets and hoses, if you could do that on special.
1450. Okay. All plus VAT, I presume?
All plus the VAT, that's it.
Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to sort out brackets for the tractor now. So I've had a chat with tailors,
Yes.
and they may have some headstocks that might do the job. So I've got to go and find out from them first. So I'll just make sure I can do it.
Yes,
There's
exactly,
yeah. There's no point in putting the cart before the horse.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, mate. Lovely job. I'll be in touch shortly.
Yeah, not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Sam. Ta-da. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's not terrible. That's not terrible.